Hello and welcome back to section 9 of my Linux commands course. In this section we're going to be looking at archives, basically compression. So we're going to compress a folder using 3 different compression methods and then extracting them. Now the reason for this is, and if you are familiar with a Windows desktop, you might have heard of WinRAR, and essentially there's many different software that does it, but WinRAR is the most popular. And essentially you get a folder with contents inside of it, and you can compress that folder into a WinRAR which needs to be extracted back to the desktop. And it's used because most websites that you try and transfer folders across with contents inside of it, it doesn't just have to be folders, by the way. It can be like applications, so exe files, it can be many different things, but for the sake of this video I'm just going to say folders. And it's easier to transfer folders across the internet when compressed, and some websites where you upload files for a direct download link, so for example, like if you remember, like Megashare, I believe it was, websites like that with a direct download, they typically only allow compressed folders with contents inside of them. So in this video we're going to just create a directory and compress it with 3 different types of compression. So I'm going to go to the desktop and create the folder on the desktop, and we're going to call this pictures. So we're going to basically compress this folder called pictures and pretend it's got pictures inside of it. So now we've got a directory called pictures, and we're going to compress it. So the way you do this, and this is the first method with tar, T-A-R, so you just type tar cf, then the name of the compressed file. So I'll call this archived. So archived, and then .tar. Make sure you add the extension .tar, and then the source directory. So in this case it's pictures because we want to compress pictures. Now if you type ls, you can see here in red there's archive.tar. So basically that is now archived, that is compressed into the tar file. Pictures is still here, but watch, if we remove the directory pictures, now pictures is gone, but we've still got archive.tar. Now we're going to extract the tar file. Extracting will just remove the contents that was inside the archive.tar, which was the pictures folder, out again. So basically just removing it back to the desktop, moving it out of the tar file back onto the desktop because we've deleted it from the desktop. So now all we need to do for extracting is tar. So it's tarxf archived.tar. Click enter, ls, and there we go, we've got pictures back. And we've still got the archive.tar. So the way to now remove this is by just typing rm-r for pictures, remove the, in fact I'll keep the pictures folder because we're going to look at 2 more compressions. We're just going to remove archive.tar, so it's rm-r and then archive.tar. And there we go, so the archive's gone. I'll type clear just to get a fresh terminal. So now we're going to look at gzip. So it's gzip, and this is a different type of compression. So this is going to be a compressed tar file. So tar, because we've still got, remember, we've still got the pictures directory, so tar czf and then archived.tar.gz. So this is compressed now, and then directory. The directory is your source directory file. So in this case, what you'd replace this with would be pictures. The directory is a folder, remember. So pictures in this case, because we want to compress this and archive it. So tar czf and then the archive.tar.gz and then pictures, or gz. Enter. And now ls, as you can see here it says archive.tar.gz. so this is compressed with the gzip. Now to extract a gzip file, we're going to look at this again. So we need to delete the pictures folder, and now we've got our archive.tar.gz, and we're going to extract this one. So it's tar xzf archived.tar.gz. Click enter, and now ls, and as you can see here pictures has been extracted. We can delete the archive.tar.gz now. So archive.tar.gz, and there we go, it's gone. So now we're going to look at the last type of compression, which is bzip2 compression. So we need tar again, but this time it's cjf archived.tar.gz. Sorry, not gz. Gz was the one before. Now it's bz2, because remember it's called bzip2. So bz2, and then the directory again. So the directory would be here, which is in this case is pictures, because that's the folder we want to compress. ls, and there we go. So now we've got the same, basically the same compressed archive file, but this time it's compressed with bz2. The contents of this is pictures, and pictures folder could have contents inside of that with actual pictures, but in this case we don't. So now all we need to do is extract the pictures folder from the archived bz2 compressed file. So all we need to do now is remove the pictures again, so you can actually see it be extracted properly. So now we haven't got the pictures folder on our desktop. Technically we still do, because it's inside the archive file, but we need to extract it out of that to be able to like access it. So tar xjf. So instead of cjf, it's xjf. Similarly with all of them, so it's cf to compress it and xf to basically extract it. So as before we used cjf, and now it's xjf. The one with gzip compression, we used xf and then not xf, we used czf and then xzf. So the c is changed into an x. Same here, so C goes into an X. It's easy to remember once you keep practicing it, and you only really need one or two. I recommend gzip, but you know, it's up to you, it's preference. So it's tar archived.tar.bz2, and that's all we need. So this will extract it, type ls, and we've got the pictures folder back. So that's essentially it. Now you could go inside the pictures folder. Obviously it doesn't have any contents, but you could create some files. It's always good to go back over commands that we've already learned. So remember touch, file 1, file 2, file 3. It's always good to practice and then removing them. So there we go. Just have a practice again with older commands, like creating more directories, creating files, moving files, copying files. There's one thing I will mention now that should have been mentioned in the other video, which is sort of like a bonus thing, is how to rename files through the terminal. I will leave a text document in the other section about this, but if I quickly create a file, because I think this is important to understand, if I create a file and I want to rename it, all you need to do is type mv for move. If you remember move, you can move a file from one directory to another, but you can also rename files with mv. So if I leave it in the same directory and just type move file 1 and move to file 2, if I press ls, as you can see, it's been renamed from file 1 to file 2. This could be renamed to anything, so file 2 can be renamed to file 667, and there we go. You can also move files, directories, but we've already looked at that. So that does conclude this section. In the next section we're going to look at installing packages. So hopefully this was useful. If you are stuck with anything, please email me at adam@codeoncommand.com. I will try and reply as quickly as I can. So I will see you all in the next section.